called, let's say you do not meditate to have stillness. But I know that you understand that too.
Yes.
Yes, and also the mind likes to compare everything, and it likes to measures and to give grades, of course, of your capacities. But if you start meditation with curiosity, for example, let's see what comes today. What comes. If it's 1 hour of non-stillness, that doesn't mean that I will not learn from it. Okay? Then I know very well, because if you want to know what stillness is, you need to know what turbulences are. Okay? And of course, the more you want stillness, the less stillness you will have. So if you start the meditation with curiosity, let's see how the mind is today. Let's see how the body is today. Maybe it would be very painful. Maybe it would be very, uh, yeah, I can feel quite good in the body, and the same with the mind. So it might be very agitated or very calm, and it depends also. It's interesting to review why your mind is so, let's say, excited. What are the kind of thoughts you are following, and for which reason? And when those, if the mind is very very active, so it's interesting maybe after the meditation to know what you did before sitting and what might have brought the mind into these activations. So it's good to know what were the activity before and even the day before. And when you are in meditation and you see that the mind is very very active, so knowing that it's very very active, that means that you are aware of your thoughts in a sense. But if you lose the awareness or mindfulness and then you catch you up, then you can say, okay, what was the content of that trains of thought? In that trains of thought, then you try to know how much the sense of me, mine, myself was in that. Okay? And then you can start to inquire where is the craving in the content of the thoughts. And if you can notice that, what is the craving, or why those thoughts look so appealing to you. Not appealing because it can be very appealing because you want something desperately, or because you want to get rid of something. And then you start to fabricate around that. Okay? Fabricate the future, fabricate some suppositions about people, or what can happen. You can start to also strategize and build up some future action in order to get something you want. Okay? Try to see this kind of pattern in your thoughts. And once you have identified that, normally if you know that there is a craving for something, then it might be that you drop the craving and you say, of course I'm thinking about that because I want this or that, or I want to avoid this or this situation. And then normally the mind can drop and say, okay, this is why I'm thinking that. And normally the process might stop. it might stop for a while and then come back. It's possible, but it's normal. It's how the human mind works when there is craving, and there is in that process nothing really personal. So when you do this kind of inquiry, do not say, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't think like this, or this kind of thought pattern shouldn't be there. Okay, just it's just normal that there is still craving. At the beginning we all start with our yeah, we inherit that, so we all start with a certain dose of craving, of course. So first of all, stop starting the meditation thinking that your mind will be still, especially at the very beginning. This is the very first thing. The second thing is to kind of put the mind at work. So inviting some curiosity. I would say also some kind of, well, let's do that experience again today. We will see how much it's maybe different than tomorrow. Let's see what's come up. And what comes up comes up. So some kind of acceptance, I would say. And then, yeah, if it's very, very the turmoil, I would say, so start to look at the content of the thoughts without involving too much psychology. Just try to pinpoint where the craving is, and learn from it. If the craving keeps going, well, that's okay. But normally, just knowing and say, that's that. I pointed it, and then suddenly it might drop. And from there is the kind of the understanding start to happen, the wisdom start to develop, because you have put your finger on the root of the thought patterns that obviously in your case also bring suffering with that. Yes, I would do this like this. So then that means that you start in your mind with the goal of having stillness, meaning you want to go into the samadhi concentration practice, but then because it's very, the mind has its activities, its mental formations, I call that, then you go slightly to the inside practice, then trying to understand the process. So if you being aware of the process of the thought pattern, and if possible letting go of any content, the content of the thoughts are actually not important. But you will see that it's very difficult to just let them go because they are very attractive. We are so used to actually think and elaborate and construct our world actually in our life, in our minds, that everything that we think are actually quite attractive and appealing to us. So it's like we are kind of thinking junkies, I would say. So if at the beginning it's like this, well, that's normal because you have been doing that for what, 4 decades and several lifetimes before. So it's just the habit. See it like this, like a habit that is not very personal, okay? And that the contents of the thoughts are not that important either. But of course, this is a training. And if it's 1 hour of just mind activity, then That's okay. And then when you stop the meditation, you can, of course, review what happened during the meditation. And yeah, because it's all about cause and condition. So it depends on several factors of what you have done also during the day, what kind of activities, what kind of karma you did also during the day or the days before. Yes. For example, if you have done, I don't know, an activity that brings lots of energy up, or lots of, for example, kung fu, combat training, and then you say, okay, now it's time for sitting, and you try to sit. It will be very difficult because there is in the body all these energies. And also, just after a full day of work, just trying to, I don't know, put certain kind of, read about certain kind of knowledge and have lots of, let's say, thinking and rational mind activity, then it might be also difficult to get stillness of the mind. And yes, it depends how much you are able to kind of maintain a low activity of the mind through the whole day. So if you just uh, get up out of the cushion and then just do your 10-12 hours of daily activities without having any kind of mindfulness, and then the day after you try to sit again, it it will not change, probably not change. Okay, some people try to have been meditating for 20 years and they see they still see no stillness, because 1 hour over 23 hours, you cannot yes, you cannot change the mental habits, I would say. So it will depend. For example, if you stay if you try to stay with your anchor or your meditation object through the whole day, it can be your body, it can be the breath, then you will see that it will get, the mind will be more and more calm. There is also an important aspect, is that there is the map of insight, and that, how to say that, when you start to inquire and develop insight, there are stages of insights, and depending on these stages, then the mind might have specific kind of patterns. So depending on the stage where you are, the mind can be blurry. You can have a total loss of clarity, even if you have been a good meditator before, but because you are hitting very precise stage of insight, then at this point, just before the breakthrough, actually, the mind might be very agitated, you can be very nervous, there might be a lot of fear coming out, and this is before reaching, for example, just after that, it can be a very deep equanimity state, where the mind is very, very stable. So it's also interesting to learn or to find a teacher that knows about the maps of insights, because there are typical patterns also that might arise. Or for example, it's possible that you have spent 1 week meditating with very clear mind, where you see all the objects of meditations very clearly. You start to gain some understanding, and at some point you will reach this phase where the mind starts to get nervous, start to say that okay, like, there is a kind of where does this practice bringing me, and you start to raise lots of questions. You want to quit meditations, and before that, 3 days before, you were in a kind of ecstatic state. So this is the normals, also ups and downs of meditation. You will never ever have twice the same sitting. You can be a good meditator and be able to reach a different high level of consciousness, but if you are hitting, for example, you are about to have a breakthrough, inside breakthrough, then your mind might become totally crazy. You will believe that you are becoming totally insane because of meditation. You will be put everything into questions again, and then you don't know what's happening. So yes, it's better not to imagine that the sitting practice will be always very still and very painful. But I would say that overall, really, with the development of understanding and wisdom and stages of enlightenment, then it becomes easier and easier. Because even if the activity of the mind, well, if it starts bubbling up a bit, yeah, too much, not too much, but with some, yeah, suffering in that, you start quite rapidly to know the root of the mental fabrications and point that and say, and then it drops. So you become more and more familiar with the pattern, you have the understanding, and you know where and what to drop in order to stop the process, let's say, to cut it short. So yeah, overall, then you can just sit and there is silence. So this is what I would advise. Then it's just a matter of experience. Yes, the more you sit, the more you see the different landscapes, let's say. But you will know also how your mind works and what soothes it. And if it's really turbulent and you do not know, the inquiry doesn't work because you do not know what to point, where to find, let's say, the craving, the source of the activity of the mind, then you can change your either the posture, or you can also change the object of meditation. Because sometimes if the mind is very, very active, keeping looking at it and bringing some energy there might not be very useful. So you can, let's say, kind of divert and really try to stick to the breath if you can, or You can also bring some metta, but sometimes it can be also difficult when the mind is very active. So then you have to find, it can be the 5 daily recollections, some chanting, for example. The mantra works well when the mind is very agitated. Yes, I would recommend chanting. So for example, you can say, okay, now the mind is very, very, I don't know what to do. So you can try to print out, for example, the metta chant and just learn it by heart, and then when it's you can also use it. Yes, chanting. Or what else? Yes. So the 5 daily recollections, or what worked very well with me was contemplation on death, but this I haven't taught yet. Because then it also arises kind of urgency, and then the mind stops literally to consider some superficial matters, and you start to realize, okay, life is very short, this is really not necessary, and then it can drop instantly into stillness. Really, the contemplation of death for my mind was like that. You just do it, and in 5 minutes it just drops, and it has a stillness absolutely something that I couldn't, let's say, attain with other kind of contemplations. And I've read about some Thai forest monks who actually, in order to have this kind of samadhis, the stillness, they would sit, for example, next to tiger's cave, or in front of a cliff where it's very, very dangerous. And then the only way to survive the danger would be to very centered and very calm. So it helps also to meditate in front of the cliff. But you see how you have to be a bit creative. Actually, yes. You are allowed to. So first of all, to balance energies, the object of meditation. Yeah, for example, sometimes you need to bring faith up to recollect why you are meditating, how life is short, and you don't know if how much time you have to do the practice, and things like this. So it's a mixture of, and also what you can do, what works very well, it's to, before sitting, to have a kind of resolve. So for example, yes, so how to say that? It should be resolved, but then once you've put the resolve, you forget about the resolve. So resolve is a kind of, say, okay, this I sit to train the mind to go to stillness for 1 hour. This is my resolve. Then you forget about it. So when the mind is not still, you don't say, my resolve, I will never attain it. But this is just to say to the mind, this is the work to do for the next hour. Let's try to do it. And Also, with that resolve, before meditation starts, you can say, you can also to open the heart, say, may this practice be for the benefits of all sentient beings, for their welfare and their freedom. So let's say that you open and you say that this is what you wish that your practice will bring. And also at the end of the meditation, you can also share your merits of the meditation. Say, I don't remember the sentence, but for example, may those merits made with this meditation be shared with all sentient beings. And because the heart is soothed and is pleased by this kind of thoughts, then it will help before the meditation and after the meditation to kind of, you will feel good about what you've done, okay? Even if it was messy in between. Okay, and then because the heart will remember the effect of this kind of sharing merits, trying to do good for all sentient beings, then each time you will start meditation with those thoughts in the heart, then the mind will react to it most probably positively, and then will start to settle right away. Okay. Okay, I hope it answers the question.